If we're making a list of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, how far do we go before we get to his name?
You're probably getting close to staying on one hand. I mean, as far as just such a difficult guy to play against. And here's the thing. He's the fastest player on the field more often than not. He's going to touch the ball every single play, obviously. He's developed so much in his pass game. The deep field or downfield shots that he was good at last year, but they didn't have people to go do it. Now Kirk is healthy. They've got Hopkins as well. And then you can get so creative in the run game. The ball distribution game that he's kind of developed, he's awesome.
And Rex, I know the thing you love about him is that he doesn't get hit.
No, he protects himself. I've never seen a guy take less hits. As soon as he scrambles, don't worry about it, Cardinal fans. He's not going to get hurt. He does not get touched. And so when you look at him, he either slides on the ground as a great baseball player, he gets out of bounds, or he sticks it in the end zone. You're not touching him. Dan, you and I talked about it. Remember in college, we're like, this kid never gets tackled.
Never, yeah.
And now he's not even getting touched. So to me, I've seen this one other time, I think, when thinking about all these players. I think it's Michael Vick, but he throws the ball better. And so to me, that was it. The way Vick burst on the scene, that's the way this kid is right now.
Ryan Clark, what are we seeing in Kyler Murray here as he begins year 2 of his career?
Listen, he's a true master of deception. He can do things from the position that we haven't seen from other players. And, you know, Rex brought up Michael Vick, and you think of him. You think of Lamar Jackson, who revolutionized the run game from the quarterback position last year. But Kyler Murray's even better than that. If you want to ask anyone how good Kyler Murray is, ask Troy Apke, the safety for the Washington football team. There were 2 times last night on those touchdowns where he was by himself in the wide open field, and he couldn't put his hands on him in the phone booth. Here is why that's so unbelievable. Because normally he does slide. Normally he doesn't take hits. He's developed a smooth way and a great understanding of knowing when he can make the extra move, knowing when he could score. You go back to the first week against the San Francisco 49ers, he rushed for a touchdown. Yesterday, he rushes for 2 touchdowns. Both of those had cuts that needed to be made. Both of those were made in crowded areas, but he understood that he had the space to make a play. He is unbelievable, not only physically, but mentally. And if he wasn't 5'10", we'd have been talking about Kyler Murray way more than this last year, because he's a special, special talent.
I would love to kind of get you into this conversation when it comes to, like, a lot of times I think what's so difficult when the athletes become really kind of utilize skill players, right? They become pieces that teams move around as coaches go, who do we have to match up against this guy, whether in the pass game or the run game? Kyler has become such a dynamic player that I think defensive coordinators now have to ask themselves, it's not necessarily do we feel good with our play call, it's who do we want on the field when we know he's going to be a part of their run game that we believe can tackle him in the open field.
There was an old thing that throwback coaches like me would do. You want to blitz running quarterbacks,
right?
All right, because you don't want to get him started in space. You can't handle this kid in space. Unfortunately, there's a kid named DeAndre Hopkins on the team now. So he's going to, you don't have anybody that can cover him. So there's so many weapons now that they have. And anytime you see a 4-man rush, you got to be like, oh my God. But DeAndre Hopkins, so he takes away all the blitzes from you because he's going to destroy man coverage. And then you got Kyler Murray, you go 4-man rush or whatever. Now he gets you in space. Nobody can tackle him. So you have a lot of problems here. And I want to tell you something. Kliff Kingsbury, you know, much was brought up. He brings in this air raid offense. This has nothing to do with air raid. Now it's an NFL offense, and I have the better player than you have, and he's taking advantage of it. And I've also noticed in their defense is playing better ever since he changed that philosophy.
They have 2 better players than you have because they have Murray and they have Hopkins, who has 22 catches.
Here's one
Hold
thing,
on, RC, which is the most of any player in history in his first 2 games on a new team. Go ahead, Ryan.
I talked to a player from Washington yesterday about losing DeAndre Hopkins in the back of the end zone. And my question was, how do you lose the best dude on the field? He said, because my eyes were fixed on Kyler Murray, because I've seen so much run and so much option in the red zone. And that's just how good Kyler Murray is. DeAndre Hopkins broke the record for catches with the new team yesterday in the first 2 games. But Kyler Murray is so dynamic. A defensive back said, my eyes were fixed on Kyler Murray.
Listen, we think that's the best division in football, and Don't look now. They might be the best team in it. They were 1-15 2 years ago. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.